There's a festival that's been featured in the New York Times. It's a destination event here in St. Louis and attracts thousands to the area each summer with readings, panel discussions, concerts, exhibitions, and productions. It received 13 awards from the St. Louis Theater Circle and was founded in 2015. And if you're wondering what it is, stay tuned to St. Louis in Tune because it's the Tennessee Williams Festival St. Louis. Welcome to St. Louis in Tune, and thank you for joining us for fresh perspectives on issues and events with experts, community leaders, and everyday people who are driving change and making an impact that shapes our society and world. I'm Arnold Stricker, along with your co-host here, Mark Langston. Mark, greetings for you today, sir.
Yes, I'd like to add that we do it in a good way.
Yes, we do.
A good, safe way.
We have fun along the way, and here's our return to civility. When an MC asks you to hold your applause till the end, please do. Focus and precision are crucial to a successful performance, and no one wants the event to drag on too long. But I can tell you an event that we always love to see is the Tennessee Williams St. Louis Festival. And on the line, we have Carrie Houk. She's the Executive Artistic Director of the festival, and Tom Mitchell, who's the Scholar in Residence and also the Associate Professor Emeritus from the University of Illinois. He's going to be leading some post-show commentary and hosting the panel. Carrie and Tom, welcome to St. Louis in Tune.
It's good to be here.
It's good to hear from you.
Carrie, I think you have the outstanding honor of being the guest who's been on the show the most. So congratulations to you.
Is that right?
I think this is maybe
Wonderful.
your fifth
Thank
time.
You. I am honored. Wow. And that doesn't even count all the times we've run into each other at My Lee.
That's correct. That's a great Vietnamese restaurant here in St. Louis, folks.
Yeah, shameless plug. Okay.
Now, a question for the both of you. How did you guys meet?
I had known about Tom for many years before I ever produced any play, much less a Tennessee Williams play. But I've always been a fan of Williams since childhood, frankly. And when I received a grant to do a Williams play that was rather St. Louis-centric, I reached out to Tom Tom, isn't that when we met? For
That's right.
To the Roof?
That's right.
Yeah,
Stairs to the Roof.
Yeah, I had known about Tom for a long time, and I just Googled and figured out how to reach him. And Tom helped tremendously with the research on that production, which was the precursor to our festival in 2014. So, yes, we've become very good friends and dear colleagues ever since. And Tom is just such an important part of our festival and really in the fibers of it, because I believe that in addition to the productions that we offer, I think a large portion of our audience really looks forward to the Scholars panels every year and the walking tour, of course, which Tom is very instrumental in putting together.
I think you're right, Carrie. You've got a great lineup, and this kind of goes to Tom here. Tom, how did you become interested in Tennessee Williams? How far back does that go?
It also goes back to that play, Stairs to the Roof. Before I met Carrie, I worked with a colleague up here in Illinois. Her name was Aline Hale, and she was the preeminent scholar on the early years of Tennessee Williams. She was probably in her 90s when I first knew her, and she had published this play called Stairs to the Roof that is set in St. Louis around the old shoe company and through Forest Park. And she got me involved. I directed that production, the first production of Stairs to the Roof, and then several more of the very early plays that Williams wrote, and that sort of pulled me into all of this.
Now, the question to the both of you, what's so fascinating and what has just drawn you? And it's like when Star Trek has this beam on another ship and it's pulling it in. What is Tennessee Williams pulling you in? How does he do that to the both of you? What's the thing that...
For me, his beautiful language, his lyrical, beautiful, heart-wrenching use of words is hard to resist, of course. And when we refer to him as America's Shakespeare, I truly believe that. Going back to when I became fascinated with Williams as a kid, I was a bit of an outsider, and I believe that Williams speaks to the other and the outsider, and I felt a connection. And then my uncles both knew Tennessee Williams, not when they were in St. Louis, but in other cities in Europe, etc. And so they would talk about him as well. But
Wow.
so I've had a fascination for most of my life, frankly.
Wow. Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of course, I'm drawn to his language and also to his characters. I think I've just been reading some of his early stories, and he gets inside the souls of characters, so you're able to really feel life as somebody else might have felt life, and it's I think something that's really healthy for us to do right now. The other thing that I found as a college instructor, because I was teaching, I taught young undergraduate students about theater. Knowing something about young Tennessee Williams when he was a college student and just beginning his career writing plays, working with other young people, I always thought how exciting it was to think about this playwright, who of course is established and somebody we know from the history books, but thinking of him as a young man doing the same thing that young people do every day right now.
That really brings it home, I think, to those who are studying. He's not just some guy that's in the history books and who we see photographs of as an elderly kind of guy, but he went through high school, had the same kind of situations that we all had.
I don't know if I want to say elderly.
Right.
71, I think, is when he passed away, if I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to put it. We're
No.
No?
85, Tom, correct?
He died in 1983, and he was 72 or 73. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 1980.
He's seasoned then, Mark. He
was seasoned.
He's not elderly.
We're both knocking on that door.
he's seasoned.
Okay. I guess it was different in the 80s, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It's different when you're younger looking at a photograph
I know,
of
you
someone
make him
older.
sound like he was an older fella, but I'm feeling that pain right now. He went to, didn't he go, I'm just drawing this from didn't he go to college here in St. Louis or in Missouri somewhere at one time?
He went to he started at the University of Missouri over in Columbia.
Okay.
Went for 3 years there. Then he came back to St. Louis, worked in the shoe company, and took part-time classes at WashU for a couple of years, and then transferred to the University of Iowa, where he finally finished his degree.
Okay. But so he does have a lot of roots here, a lot of educational roots
absolutely.
here. Yeah.
He has some high school roots.
He went to school and University City High. So,
Right.
yeah.
Is he a U City?
Not a graduate. I think he just attended there.
Both Arnold and I are
No.
alum from U
Did he graduate there, Tom?
He graduated.
Yeah, he graduated from.
Yeah.
Yes, he graduated from U City High.
He's an alum, just like you and I, Mark.
He should be on the Wall of Fame.
I think he is.
Is he? Okay.
think he is.
This is what I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay. What I don't know could fill a book.
Now,
Okay.
Carrie, give us a little rundown on the series that you have lined up. I know Cat on a Hot Tin Roof is going to be the production, but you also have a whole lot of things after that.
We have 2 productions this year. Prior to the pandemic, we always would have 2 productions, our main stage and our second stage. Yes, we wanted to wait for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof for when we really could bring it to the community in the way it can be done and should be done. And I think our team is just sensational, and I'm glad we did wait until now to do it. We're back at the Grandel, which I consider our artistic home in St. Louis, and where we have not appeared since 2019, so it's like a homecoming for us to be back in Grand Center. And our second stage production will be at the Curtain Call Lounge.
The second production is Lie Upon the Wicked Stage, 3 one-act plays by Tennessee Williams, August 10th through the 18th. Tom?
The 3 plays are charming plays and a lot of fun, probably lighter, funnier plays by Williams than many people think
Yeah.
of.
That's absolutely correct. They're lighter and funnier. And Julie Layton has actually played this character who begins as Annabelle in our profession. In our first year, when we did the hotel plays at the Stockton House, or the rooming house plays is what we called them. And then she also played the role, which I think is about 5 years after following the first play. They call her Linda in that one. We're keeping her name of Annabelle throughout. She did that when we did the radio series during the pandemic. Yeah. So she's happy to revisit these in a full production this year.
I'm curious, Tom, about this scholars panel that you're going to be leading, and this panel series, and there's a variety of them. There's 4 of them, as I see on the information that I have. And explain a little bit about what happens so people can understand, gee, I have to go to that. That picks apart the plays a little bit differently.
Sure, yeah. We call these scholars panels, but I think they are absolutely panels that are open to everybody, and they are not academic. We try hard to make them accessible to our audiences. But we address different kinds of topics that the plays that we're doing raise. So we begin at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, August 10th, with a panel called The Mystery in Tennessee's Storms. So we're taking a look at the stage directions, especially in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and in The Magic Tower. That's one of these wicked stage plays. Just to see and to open up for the audience, what is it that Williams tells actors and designers that lead to the production that audiences see on stage? And then at 10 o'clock, taking that same wicked stage idea, we're looking on stage and backstage in the theater district there around Grand Center as it was in the 1930s. So we'll look at these characters that show up in Williams' plays that are actors, vaudeville performers, etc. And we'll talk about the history of the theaters that used to be down there along Grand Boulevard, because it was the Broadway of St. Louis in the 30s when Williams was a young man, both going to the movies, going to vaudeville, and to legitimate theater. There were 8 or 9 theaters along that row, and also jazz clubs, dance halls. It was a vibrant area then. And then at 11 o'clock, we'll take a look at Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and how that play has changed in different ways. When Williams was working with Elia Kazan on the original Broadway production, they had differences about how the play might end. And then when the play was changed again for the movie version, of course, which starred Elizabeth Taylor, how the play was changed for the movies, and all of that in sort of inside story about Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And then at noon, we sneak in one other little performance in a reading of a story by Williams called Stella for Star, which was another award-winning work. Williams won the first prize from the St. Louis Writers Guild in 1935 with a story called Stella for Star. And we've adapted that. We're going to do it just reading that story for our audiences, and then talk a little bit about what Williams was doing, what it meant to work with the St. Louis Writers Guild, etc., all around that particular story. A variety of kinds of panels. One thing that I've always been very impressed by is that the audiences who come to the panels are smart and engaged and interested and have great questions. There's always a lively discussion. It's a friendly group, a relaxed kind of presentation, and I think people have a great time.
And where's that going to take place?
At the Grandel.
At the Grandel, okay.
So
okay.
all of our events are at the Grandel or the Curtain Call Lounge, which is adjacent to the Fox. I do have some good news about parking. We get free parking for Life Upon the Wicked stage in the Fox Club parking lot, which is on the north side of the Fox Theater. And then for all of our other events, we get to park in the Fox Garage on Washington Avenue for only $5 if you are a festival goer. And it's right around the corner from the Grandel. It's really steps away. And both lots will be secured. And so the Cat on a Hot Tin Roof is there, the scholars panels, and then our walking tour, which Tom will talk about next, I hope, the group will meet there before we commence. And again, it's really good to be back there. And the curtain call, or the Grandel has a full bar and food, and it's really, you can make an evening or day of it. And especially the way we've scheduled the events, you can really do almost everything if you come on a certain day in one day.
How large of a venue is that? How many folks can you fit in there?
Quite a few. On the floor, it's 280 seats, and then there's a little mezzanine balcony that we try not to seat people up there unless we have overflow. The seats are good, but I think downstairs is the better place to sit.
It sounds very intimate, which is great.
Yeah. And then we have the banquettes, which are fun. In fact, we're going to be auctioning off some of the banquettes as Big Daddy's birthday party, and whoever buys the banquet can get a Big Daddy birthday cake and a bottle of champagne.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston of St. Louis in Tune. We're talking to Carrie Houk, Tennessee Williams St. Louis Executive Artistic Director, and Tom Mitchell, who is the Scholar in Residence for the festival. Tom, Carrie mentioned about the walking tour. What kind of takes place with that? You walk around Grand Center and discuss what Williams saw?
Yeah. We've been doing these walking tours now the last several festivals, and it's a great way to be right on the ground and see, take a look at what was there, what's there now, and imagine what was there back in the 1930s when Williams walked those same streets. So Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, we have the walking tour, and we will. It is not a strenuous tour, but we're walking down from like the Enright and the Powell Hall end of Grand, just down a couple of blocks, looking at where these 7 or 8 different big theaters were, and talking about also the restaurants and the life that was there in the that Williams might have experienced. And I'm sure folks in St. Louis are familiar with the area from going to the Grandel or going to the Fabulous Fox and that sort of thing. But I think it's a lot of fun to see those places through different eyes and imagine what was there, however many, almost 90 years ago.
I'm glad we kept some of the things that we have kept, and they've survived, because otherwise it might be a walking tour of some parking lots, unfortunately.
There's a fair amount of that, and maybe it's a lesson to see where some things have been lost, reminding us that maybe we should think twice before bulldozing those spaces.
Absolutely. Now, Carrie, I know on this next question that I'm going to ask you, I know you well enough to know that you don't go into putting a festival together to look for awards. But when you put the festival together, oh my gosh, you put it together in a manner of excellence and artistry that the awards are just flowing in. So congratulations to you and the rest of the team for what you're doing.
Thanks.
Would you have thought about that at this time, that this is where the festival would be?
Oh boy, I've taken this day by day. I really thought I was going to be doing one festival and calling it a day. So here we are, 9 years later. And no, I don't produce plays to get awards, but we do. I am a firm believer, if we're going to do something, we want to strive for excellence.
Yes. With
every component of the festival. And love the attitude of let's put on a show. And I grew up putting on a show in the carport in Crestwood on Coffee Court. That's really how I got started in show business. But I do try and bring the people who are paying to come. Keeping live theater alive is really challenging in our era because there's tremendous amount of really terrific product on television and movies, and I think people got used to hunkering at home and enjoying their homesteads. And so it's hard to convince people that it will be worthwhile to leave the house and get dressed and buy a ticket. And we try to keep our ticket prices at the minimum because we want people there, and yet producing theater isn't cheap, and we strive for excellence with what we're working with. And I believe that our festival looks like it costs a lot more than it actually does. Frankly, we pull rabbits out of the hat.
You're a
And,
great magician if you do that.
Part of it is, I think, my expertise, my experience as a casting director, which is what I really am professionally, originally, for over 40 years. I think that our casts are the best. I really do. We take a lot of time casting and put a lot of thought and effort into chemistry and will they work well with a particular director, and will they mesh as an ensemble? And I really think that's one of the reasons that magic occurs in our productions.
Well, kudos to you on that, because having a festival like that be nationally known, and there are several other Tennessee Williams festivals around the United States.
There are.
But you guys are on the map.
The New Orleans Festival has been around for 30-plus years, correct, Tom?
Yes.
And Provincetown is approaching their 20th year, and we're colleagues. We don't compete with each other because New Orleans is very much a scholarly event and literary festival, and Provincetown has a much edgier vibe than we do, and I'd say maybe our productions are more traditional than what you would find in Provincetown, but we all get along, we all attend each other's festivals, we all participate in others' festivals, and it's a fun club to be a part of, frankly.
I just quickly wanted to mention you can go to twstl.org, twstl.org. Tickets are at MetroTix, but check out the website. We're going to take a real quick break, and we'll come back. This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston of St. Louis in Tune. This is Arnold Stricker of St. Louis in Tune on behalf of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation. In 1857, the Dred Scott decision was a major legal event and catalyst that contributed to the Civil War. The decision declared that Dred Scott could not be free because he was not a citizen. The 14th Amendment, also called the Dred Scott Amendment, granted citizenship to all born or naturalized here in our country and was intended to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court decision on July 9, 1868. The Dred Scott Heritage Foundation is requesting a commemorative stamp to be issued from the U.S. Postal Service to recognize and remember the heritage of this amendment by issuing a stamp with the likeness of the man Dred Scott. But we need your support and the support of thousands of people who would like to see this happen. To achieve this goal, we ask you to download, sign, and share the one-page petition with others. To find the petition, please go to dredscottlives.org and click on the Dred Scott Petition Drive on the right side of the page. On behalf of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation, this has been Arnold Stricker of St. Louis in Tune. Welcome back to St. Louis in Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston. We're talking to Carrie Houk, Tennessee Williams St. Louis Executive Artistic Director, and Tom Mitchell, who is the scholar in residence for the festival. You've got Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, August the 8th through the 18th. You've got Lie Upon the Wicked Stage, one acts by Tennessee Williams, which is August 10th through the 18th. The Scholars Panel, which will take place on August the 10th. You have other events like the Walking Tour on August the 11th. And the Open Mic Curtain Call Lounge at Grand Center is August the 11th. If you're traveling in from out of town, you can stay at the Royal Sonesta at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel, some special rates. Go to twstl.org, twstl.org. If you're local, tickets at MetroTix. Question, Tom. When you think back of your days at Shawnee Heights High School and going to Baker University, did you ever think that you would be doing what you're doing right now?
Shawnee Heights.
Well,
that was my curveball, Tom.
That's a curveball. So I grew up in Kansas on the other side of Missouri, and even as a young man, I was interested in Tennessee Williams. There was something about, especially the Glass Menagerie, that spoke to me as a Midwesterner and as a theater person. And so it does seem that somehow there's something right about the way my career has gone with a focus on Tennessee Williams. I'm really happy that it ended up here.
You both are very humble in your origins. Carrie, you described on a coffee court, and Tom is a Thunderbird from Shawnee Heights, and I actually happen to know where Shawnee Heights High School is, Tom, because I went to the University of Kansas. So,
Okay, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, my roommate student taught there. Yeah, it's just this small world.
It is.
When we've been to the Tennessee Williams Festival, Mark and I, and when we just
Loved it.
catch about what's going on, the vibe there, the intensity, and as you both described, the language and how he really he just pushes life into the characters. Do you find that's really unusual with playwrights? Is that what distinguishes him? Do other playwrights not really push themselves? You see his life on full display pretty much in every play that he has written.
Yeah, I think that is right. He as a writer, he was living the life of the characters, or at least deeply imagining the life of the characters from the inside with everything that he wrote, whether it was plays or poetry or short stories. And a career like his is unusual. There are certainly writers today who create characters who are compelling and plays that are very moving, but I can't think of very many writers who've done it through a very long career and hundreds of different works, like Tennessee Williams did.
Now, you just said something I never knew, that he did poetry. Never knew that.
Yeah, he began.
Poet. Yeah, sorry, can you take over on this?
Yeah. As a young man, that was really the way he first identified himself was as a poet. And that sense of language that shows up in his poetry, of course, translates into the way he uses language in his plays and his stories and everything else.
Never knew.
Now, Carrie, I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Never knew. Never knew that.
No, never knew that.
When we were at the table read last week for Cat on a Hudson Roof, I found Tennessee was in almost every character in the play in some little way or another. And you just feel that reading his work. There he is. And I think that's why we connect so well, because he really does just dive deep into the truth of being alive, I think.
Did he want to... I know he had, the play was rewritten and the movie, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and he didn't like the ending that was done on the first Broadway thing, and then he really disapproved of the movie, how they did that. How often does a playwright go back and rewrite? It seems, okay, an artist, they do their painting and they're done, or a composer, they're done. Why did he want to go back, or what was the reasons, do you know?
Well, I think he was... He was a compulsive writer. He wrote every day, and he just, I think, always found more truth. He found more to say or better ways to say it, and was just compelled to put that down on paper. There's the story of after he had written Streetcar Named Desire, that he, after that play had been a success on Broadway, he was still going back and tinkering with even that script and trying to improve it, make things better. It's the kind of writer he was.
Wow.
And even Summer and Smoke turned into Eccentricities of a Nightingale, and there are other examples of that, aren't there, Tom? That yeah. We're doing his revision from 1974 that was directed by Michael Kahn on Broadway, which I actually saw as a young woman when I first moved to New York. It was really thrilling to see Elizabeth Ashley, who was Maggie, who I believe Tennessee felt that Elizabeth Ashley was the quintessential Maggie and his favorite. So I'm really thrilled that we're doing that version. I've never even seen this version, frankly, except in 1974, but not since.
I think that the fact that Williams did continue to revise his work throughout his life also speaks to why his material feels alive, because it was not fixed. He didn't write a play and it just was fixed in time and never changed. But these works were always dynamic, and they changed as he changed, as the actors who were involved with the plays changed. And so they have a feeling of being true and alive, which, again, makes him different than many other writers.
I agree. Totally agree. Absolutely.
Do either of you know that he attended the Broadway performances, and which may have spurred these changes based upon how roles were created from the actors? I know he saw the movie and didn't really care for that and the directing of that, but did certain portrayals, like you were saying, Carrie, did certain portrayals of a character really resonate with him and maybe make him think in his mind, I need to revise X, Y, and Z?
I know that he and Elia Kazan had a conflict in the original production, and Kazan is the one who wanted to make the changes in the script.
Okay.
Tom, maybe you can speak on the casting of that and how Williams might have felt about that. I'm not sure, frankly.
I think that he was always affected by the performers who played in his works. And he talked about, in various things, watching rehearsals with very talented performers. And I know that inspired him and would lead to changes. So yes, it was part of it. I think that's why the Elizabeth Ashley version, why there were changes in 1974 with another actor.
I'd like to thank the both of you for your time today. And Carrie, it's always great talking with you about the festival and the things that you have planned. And Tom, it's great having you on for the first time. Would love to have you back and talk a little bit more and dig a little bit deeper into your background and what you love. So we've been talking to Carrie Houk. She's the Tennessee Williams St. Louis Executive Artistic Director, and Tom Mitchell, who's the Scholar in Residence and Associate Professor Emeritus from the University of Illinois. I want to thank you for coming on St. Louis in Tune today.
And Carrie is
Thank you so much to both of you. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you at the festival.
I can't wait. We learned so much from you, Carrie and Tom. Every time we talk to them.
Yes.
Especially Carrie. We've talked to her more than anyone else on this show. But we always learn more about I learned more about Tennessee than I had ever heard before. Just so much.
You guys are great.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Break a leg. Can I say break a leg to them?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if that's right. Okay.
And folks, again, want to remind you, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, August the 8th through the 18th at the Grandel Theater. Then the Scholars Panel is also going to be on August the 10th. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those right in a row from 9 o'clock till noon. Lie Upon the Wicked Stage, one acts by Tennessee Williams. That's August the 10th through the 18th. At the Curtain Call Lounge. And then there's other events. The walking tour is August 11th at 10 a.m. And the open mic is at 7 p.m. On August the 11th. If you're traveling, check out the Royal Sonesta Chase Park Plaza. Go to twstl.org for information. Tickets are available at MetroTix.
I'm learning more and more about Tennessee Williams, and I'm loving it. I had no idea that he revised some of these. That's fascinating to me.
It really. That's why I asked that question, because a lot of times composers, I'm done. Artists,
I'm done. Move on to the next.
They'll keep going, and when they sign it, Thomas Hart Benton, he would not sign it until he was completely done. But when it was done, it's done.
Yeah. No, I love that he came back, revised it as he grew older and more experienced. He saw it a little bit differently and made it better, I think.
Carrie's comments about, and Tom echoed this, about the language and the Shakespeare of our time. And as he was first a poet, and then formulating those words and shaping them, putting them together, and then having that roll over into the plays that he wrote, I can imagine that's why he is so vibrant.
And a poet. Did you know that Tennessee Williams was a poet?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know there was I don't know if there's a book out or anything. We'll have to do a little research on that.
Maybe Tom's working on that. Speaking of which, we forgot to talk about Tom's book. He's got a book coming out. On Tennessee Williams. I forgot to ask him about that. We'll have to have him back and talk about that, because it's a book coming out, I think, the first part of next year, folks. First part of 2025.
Right.
So we'll get more information on that for you.
We should, yeah. That's right. We wanted to talk to him about that. Yep.
So, Mark, do you have any days of the day?
It's a National Corn Fritters Day.
Oh, gosh.
What is a corn fritter? I don't even know what a corn fritter is. I don't think I've ever had a corn fritter.
Is that a hot dog rolled up in dough?
Is that right?
Cornmeal?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. How about Fresh Spinach Day?
I like fresh spinach.
Do you?
Yes.
I didn't appreciate spinach till I got older.
You know why? Because our parents probably made frozen spinach or canned spinach, and then we hated it.
You think that's it?
Yeah, I think that's why I did
that.
Like it.
I never. National Cherry Day.
Oh, yeah, that's good, especially if you're in Michigan.
Yeah. What's the cherry blossom?
Cherry Blossom Festival
That should be around now.
in Washington, D.C.
It should be the same time,
It
shouldn't
should be, yeah, because that's in May, I think, early May.
Yeah, I would think, all right, National Personal Chef Day. That'd be my wife.
That's every day.
She's my personal
That's me. I'm chef at home.
Are you the chef at home?
Yes. Wife's the baker.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. World Snake Day. How do you feel about snakes?
I think they can stay on the ground.
I try.
Stay away.
I try. I really try. I really work with it. We go down to in the woods a lot, and I see snakes quite a bit. The first thing I want to do is kill it.
As long as they're not rattling around.
Rattling around, I know, but I don't want to. It's their domain. That's where they are right now.
I'll tell you a story about a snake.
Okay.
I was working out in central and western Kansas pulling pipe out of old oil wells one summer. And we were on an oil derrick, and there was a rattlesnake rolling around, and some guy took a shovel and caught it right behind the head, and then the body with the rattler rolled off and went off into the brush, and the head was still there. And I thought, okay, me a smart city boy, let's go down there and let's look at this thing. So I jumped off the rig and was down there looking at that, and it was facing away from me, and I got down near it, and it turned right around with its fangs out.
No.
Yes, so it was like still
alive.
Yeah,
the head was still alive.
The head was still there. Probably could have gotten fanged there if I wasn't careful.
Ay.
That was a little frightening.
Yeah. Well, it's Will Ferrell's birthday today.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. I like Will Ferrell. He's out of his mind. He's one of the...
Yes, he is.
Oh, National Hot Dog Day.
Oh, team up with the fritters.
Yeah. That's National Lottery Day. I try to scratch offs.
Okay.
Never works. I don't know where my money's going. I hope it's going to education like they promised.
It's going to the kids.
Like they promised, but I don't believe that it does. Constitution Day in Korea.
Okay.
Just a couple of more. National Peach Ice Cream Day.
Oh, that can happen every day.
Peach ice cream?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
No, not a big peach ice cream. But that's,
peaches on top ice
That's
cream.
just me. Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Take your poet to work day.
Oh, take Tennessee Williams.
National Tattoo Day. Any tattoos on you?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
How about you, Mark?
No, I never have. I have family members that have them, but I'm not one of them. Just can't. Because they fade and they look as you get older, and I just don't.
That's right. Unless you're going to be buff your whole life, forget about it.
That's not. That's over with me. And last one is Yellow Pig Day.
Yellow pig. That's interesting. What's
Whether
that?
you're a math rookie or a world-leading professor, let's celebrate Yellow Pig Day. Let me see if I can.
Is that a pig that's sick?
It might sound like a Pork Appreciation Day. It's actually a day to enjoy the wonders of mathematics, and particularly the special properties of the number 17. Whether you're a math rookie or a world-leading professor, we have all of the mind-boggling facts in history in the Yellow Pig Day. I don't understand.
Why do they call it Yellow Pig?
I don't know. I'm trying to find.
That's
history
weird.
of the Yellow Pig. It's a really long.
Oh.
It's about 4 paragraphs.
Okay.
I think I'll get back to you on the Yellow Pig Day.
Okay.
That's all we have.
I do have our word of the day.
Ooh. Okay.
Desuetude. Desuetude. It's spelled Desuetude. Discontinuance from use or exercise, disuse, lack of use, neglect, abandonment, inactivity. Example: the old bridge, which fell into desuetude after the railroad was shut down, has recently been opened as a pedestrian walkway. Despite the long years of desuetude, the old manual typewriter seemed to work just fine. Even though there are ordinances on the books in the city of St. Louis, the desuetude of not doing anything about them makes them irrelevant. Did I say that?
Yes, you did. And I think you're probably correct. The audience,
they're applauding.
Their chimes in right now.
Pistachio Gallery. Yeah. And septic tanks, I saw this sign. Septic tanks pump, swimming pools filled, not the same truck.
I hope not.
Here's a for sale sign. You see these for sale signs, and they put the thing on it, coming soon or sold or whatever. The sign on top, this one said, quiet neighbors across the street. It's a cemetery. It's a cemetery. I just had a police officer knock on my door saying he was looking for a man with one eye. I told him to use both. It would probably find him quicker.
Okay.
The wife's thinking, I will ignore him all day, so he knows I'm mad. Husband's thinking, what a nice, quiet day.
Oh, no. You're going to get in trouble for these.
Not me. Let's see here. Before we perfect artificial intelligence, can we work on natural stupidity?
Yay! Hello.
All right. Let's
Isn't
see
that
here.
true?
If printing money could end poverty, printing diplomas could end stupidity.
I agree. I totally agree.
Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect. Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect.
Isn't it?
Let's see what else we got here. Politicians should wear sponsor jackets like NASCAR drivers. Then we know who owns them.
What a great idea.
It is. Can you see these guys getting up at the conventions?
Yeah. It's the jumpsuit.
And I'll close with this. No English dictionary has been able to explain the difference between the two words complete and finished. Some people say there is no difference, but there is. When you marry the right woman, you are complete. When you marry the wrong woman, you are finished. And if you marry a wife who likes shopping, you are completely finished.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, folks, that's all for this hour.
Holy smokes.
We thank you for joining us. If you've enjoyed this episode, you can listen to additional shows at stlintune.com. Consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and continue to grow. I want to thank Bob Berthasell for our theme music, co-host Mark Langston, and we thank you for being a part of our community of curious minds. St. Louis in Tune is a production of Motif Media Group and the U.S. Radio Network. Remember to keep seeking, keep learning, walk worthy, and let your light shine. For St. Louis in Tune, I'm Arnold Stricker.